The sound of shattering glass cut through the dinner chatter like a gunshot. Maya felt the cold splash of water hit her ankles before she even registered what had happened. The crystal tumbler lay in pieces at her feet, ice cubes scattered across the polished marble floor. Her heart hammered against her ribs as she looked up at the red-faced man glaring at her from table 7. "Are you incompetent or just stupid?" he barked, loud enough for the entire restaurant to hear. The dining room fell silent. 40 pairs of eyes turned toward her. Maya's hands trembled as she reached for the towel tucked into her apron. "I'm so sorry, sir. Let me clean this up right away." "Sorry." The man's wife laughed, a sharp, cruel sound. "We've been waiting 20 minutes for our appetizers, and this is what we get? Service from someone who can't even hold a tray properly." Maya's throat tightened. She hadn't dropped the glass. He'd knocked it over himself when he'd gestured wildly while talking. But she knew better than to argue. "I'll get you another water immediately," she said quietly, kneeling to pick up the larger pieces of glass. "Don't bother," the man sneered. "Just get us someone who actually knows how to do their job. Where's your manager?" Richard was already striding across the restaurant, his expression tight with irritation. He stopped beside table 7, pointedly ignoring Maya on the floor. "Is there a problem, Mr. Castellano?" "Your waitress is the problem," Mr. Castellano said. "Incompetent, clumsy, and now she's making a scene." Richard's jaw clenched. He looked down at Maya with barely concealed contempt. "Stand up. You're embarrassing the establishment." Maya rose slowly, clutching the broken glass in the towel. Heat crawled up her neck. She could feel everyone watching, judging. "Apologize to Mr. Castellano," Richard ordered. "I already did," Maya said softly. "Then do it again. Properly." She swallowed hard. "I'm very sorry for the disruption, Mr. Castellano. It won't happen again." "You're right about that," Mrs. Castellano said, examining her manicured nails. "Because you shouldn't be serving people like us in the first place. Look at you. Can barely speak proper English. Where are you even from?" The question hung in the air like poison. "I'm from Brooklyn," Maya said, keeping her voice even. Mrs. Castellano's laugh was like nails on a chalkboard. "Sure you are, honey. Richard, be a dear and get us someone else, would you? Someone more appropriate." Richard's face flushed. "Maya, go to the back. I'll handle this table." "But my section." "Now." Maya nodded, blinking back the burning in her eyes. She turned toward the kitchen, the broken glass still wrapped in her towel. Each step felt like walking through deep water. She could hear the whisper starting up behind her. She was 3 steps from the kitchen door when she heard it. The scrape of a chair against marble. The sound was quiet, but something about it made the entire restaurant pause again. Maya glanced back despite herself. A man was standing at table 12, the corner table near the windows. He'd been sitting there for the past hour alone, barely touching his food. Maya had noticed him when she'd first started her shift, tall, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than she made in 6 months, with sharp features and dark eyes that seemed to miss nothing. Now he was standing, and the temperature in the room seemed to have dropped 10 degrees. If you enjoy emotional love stories with powerful moments like this, you'll want to stay for this one. "Excuse me," he said. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried. Everyone turned toward him. Richard stepped forward, his expression shifting from irritation to nervousness. "Sir, if there's a problem with your meal." "There is no problem with my meal." The man's English was perfect, with barely a trace of an accent. "But I do have a concern." "Of course, sir. How can I help you?" The man looked past Richard, directly at Mr. Castellano. "I believe you owe this young woman an apology." The silence that followed was absolute. Mr. Castellano's face turned purple. "I beg your pardon? You knocked over your own glass," the man said calmly. "I watched you do it. Then you blamed her for your clumsiness and allowed your wife to insult her. That seems unjust." Mrs. Castellano gasped. "How dare you?" "I dare because I was sitting here, observing." He gestured toward his table. "Your husband was gesturing while speaking and struck the glass with his elbow. The waitress was 3 feet away at the time." Maya's heart was pounding so hard she thought it might burst from her chest. No one had ever defended her before. Not once in the 2 years she'd worked at Meridian. Richard looked like he'd swallowed a lemon. Sir, I appreciate your input, but I'm sure this is just a misunderstanding. There is no misunderstanding. The man's voice remained level, but something in his tone made Richard take a step back. I saw what I saw. And what I saw was a customer creating a problem, blaming an innocent employee, and then subjecting her to racist remarks while management stood by and allowed it. Now wait just a minute. Mr. Castellano started to rise. Who the hell do you think you are? The man didn't answer immediately. He simply stood there, hands relaxed at his sides, looking at Mr. Castellano with an expression that was almost polite. Then Maya noticed the other men. They'd been sitting at different tables throughout the restaurant. 4 of them, maybe 5, all wearing suits, all Korean, all now standing in a synchronization that was clearly not coincidental. They didn't move toward anyone or make threatening gestures. They just stood watching, waiting. Richard went pale. Mr. Castellano, perhaps we should. You should sit down, the man from table 12 said quietly. Both of you. Finish your meal if you can stomach it and leave. Quietly. This is outrageous, Mrs. Castellano sputtered, but her voice had lost its sharp edge. Richard, are you going to let him talk to us like this? Richard was staring at the man like he'd seen a ghost. Mr. and Mrs. Castellano, perhaps it would be best if you left. The man from table 12 walked across the dining room with smooth, unhurried steps. He stopped a few feet from Maya, close enough that she could smell his cologne, something expensive and subtle. Are you all right? He asked. Maya realized she was still holding the towel full of broken glass. Her hands had gone numb. Yes. Thank you. You don't need to thank me. He turned to Richard. She doesn't need to go to the back. She did nothing wrong. Richard's mouth opened and closed. Of course, sir. Whatever you say, sir. What I say is that Mr. and Mrs. Castellano will be leaving now, and their bill will be voided. Consider it compensation for wasting this young woman's time and subjecting her to abuse. Now see here. Mr. Castellano tried again, but one of the other suited men had moved closer. We're leaving, Mrs. Castellano said quickly, grabbing her purse. They left in a flurry of indignation. The door swung shut behind them with a soft chime. The man turned back to Maya. May I ask your name? Maya, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Maya Johnson. Maya. He said it like he was committing it to memory. I'm Jae-sung Park. I apologize for intervening without your permission. I hope I didn't overstep. No, you didn't. I just don't understand why you did that. Because it was wrong. He said it simply, as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. What they did to you was wrong, and someone needed to say so. Richard cleared his throat. Mr. Park, I want to apologize for any disturbance. The disturbance was already occurring. Jae-sung didn't even look at him. Your employee was being mistreated, and you chose to side with the customers who were mistreating her. That's a management failure. Richard nodded rapidly. Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir. Jae-sung returned his attention to Maya. Would you dispose of that glass and then join me at my table? I'd like to speak with you if you're willing. Maya glanced at Richard, who looked like he wanted to protest but didn't dare. She nodded slowly. Okay. If this story is already hitting, don't forget to like. It helps more than you think. She carried the broken glass to the kitchen. In the back, Carlos, one of the line cooks, grabbed her arm. Mija, do you know who that is? He hissed. He said his name is Jae-sung Park. Carlos's eyes widened. Park? As in Park Group. They own half the real estate in Koreatown. Restaurants, nightclubs, import businesses. Everyone knows they're connected. 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 Carlos repeated meaningfully. The kind of people who make problems disappear. Maya walked back out on shaky legs. Jae-sung was at his table, sitting calmly, looking out the window. She approached slowly. You wanted to speak with me? He gestured to the chair across from him. Please sit. I'm working. I can't. I've already spoken with your manager. You have a 15-minute break starting now. Maya sank into the chair, feeling surreal. Why did you do that? You don't even know me. I don't need to know you to recognize injustice. He poured water into a clean glass and slid it across to her. I've been coming to this restaurant for 3 months. I always request table 12 because it allows me to observe the entire room. You were watching me? I was watching everyone. It's a habit. He leaned back. I noticed you immediately your first night. Do you know why? Maya shook her head. Because you handled cruelty with grace. I've seen customers snap their fingers at you, speak to you rudely, ignore you. And every time you maintained your composure. That takes strength. That takes needing the paycheck, Maya said bitterly. It takes both. Jae-sung's expression was unreadable. I know what it's like to be treated as less than human. It's corrosive. Maya took a sip of water. What you said to Richard about them being connected. Is that true? Are you? Am I what, Maya? Carlos said you're with the Park Group. That you're connected. Ah. Jae-sung folded his hands on the table. Yes, I'm with the Park Group. My family owns various businesses in the city. As for being connected, that depends on your definition. We have influence. We have resources. And we protect what's ours. I'm not yours to protect. No, he agreed. But that doesn't mean I can't choose to do so anyway. Something in his tone made her look up sharply. He was watching her with an intensity that made her breath catch. Why? She asked. Because in 3 months of observation, I've learned several things about you, Maya Johnson. He began counting on his fingers. You arrive 30 minutes early for every shift. You give part of your tips to the busboys. You never complain even when you're clearly in pain. You're studying something, you keep a textbook in your bag. And despite everything, you show up every day and do your job with dignity. Maya felt heat rising in her cheeks. You really were watching. I was paying attention. There's a difference. He paused. May I ask what you're studying? Nursing. I'm finishing my RN degree at community college. 2 more semesters. And after that? After that, I can finally quit this job and work somewhere I actually trained for. Somewhere I can help people instead of serving them overpriced food, while they treat me like furniture. Jae-sung nodded slowly. You deserve better than this place. I'll get there. Eventually. What if it could be sooner? He pulled a card from his jacket and slid it across the table. Park Group owns a hospital in Queens. A very good hospital. They're always looking for qualified nurses. If you were interested, I could ensure you were given serious consideration when you graduate. She stared at him. You're offering me a job? Just like that. I'm offering you an opportunity. What you do with it is up to you. He gestured to the card. My direct number. Call me when you graduate if you're interested. Maya looked at the card, heavy stock, embossed lettering. I don't understand. Why would you do this for a stranger? Because you're not a stranger anymore, Maya. And because I believe in investing in people who have already proven their character. He stood. Now, I should let you get back to work before Richard has a heart attack. Wait, Maya said. Thank you for standing up for me. No one's ever done that before. Jae-sung paused, looking back at her. For the first time, his expression softened into something that might have been sadness. Then you've been surrounded by the wrong people, he said quietly. That will change if you let it. The next several weeks passed in a blur. Richard was suddenly deferential in a way that would have been funny if it wasn't so pathetic. The other waitresses started rumors that Maya was sleeping with someone important, that she'd threatened to sue. She'd tucked Jae-sung's card into her wallet, but she found herself taking it out sometimes, running her thumb over the embossed letters. She thought about him more than she should. Remembered the way he'd stood up, calm and certain. The way he'd looked at her like she mattered. It was a Friday night 3 weeks after the incident. The restaurant was packed, and Maya was juggling 6 tables when she spotted him. Table 12. Same seat, same perfect posture. But this time he wasn't alone. 2 men sat with him, both Korean, both in expensive suits. They were deep in conversation, speaking in Korean, their voices low and serious. She was heading back to the kitchen when she heard her name. Maya. She turned. Jae-sung had separated from his companions and was walking toward her. Mr. Park, she said, trying to sound professional. Welcome back. I was hoping you'd be working tonight. He glanced toward his table. I apologize for not requesting you as our server. This is a business dinner, and I didn't want to make you uncomfortable. I appreciate that. She hesitated. How have you been? Busy. And you? How are your studies progressing? Good. I have finals next week, and then it's just one more semester. That's excellent news. He seemed genuinely pleased. I hope you'll still consider the offer I made. I am considering it. It's very generous. It's fair for someone with your qualifications. He paused. Maya. This may be inappropriate given the circumstances, but I was wondering if you might be willing to have dinner with me. A real dinner, not as my server. Maya's breath caught. Like a date. If you're comfortable calling it that, yes. He held up a hand. Please don't feel obligated. I realize the power dynamic here is complicated. If it makes you uncomfortable, say so, and I'll never mention it again. Maya's mind was racing. This was crazy. He was clearly wealthy, clearly powerful, clearly connected to things she probably didn't want to know about. And yet, why me? She asked. You could have dinner with anyone. I don't want to have dinner with anyone. I want to have dinner with you. He said it simply. You interest me, Maya. Your strength interests me. Your determination interests me. I'd like to get to know you better, outside of this restaurant, outside of these roles we're both playing. What roles are those? The one where I'm the powerful businessman and you're the struggling student who needs my help. I'd like to meet as equals, as two people who might enjoy each other's company. No obligations, no expectations beyond conversation. Maya looked toward the kitchen, where Richard was probably having a fit. Then she looked at Jae-sung, at his patient expression, at the genuine interest in his eyes. Okay, she said. Yes. His smile was small but real. Tomorrow night? I'll pick you up at 7. You don't know where I live. Then you should probably give me your address. He pulled out his phone, and Maya rattled off her apartment building. Maya, if at any point you feel uncomfortable or want to end the evening, just say so. I'll take you home immediately, no questions asked. And it won't affect the job offer. That stands regardless. Okay? Maya said again, feeling breathless. The next evening, Maya stood in front of her closet confronting the reality of her wardrobe. She owned exactly one dress suitable for a date with a man who wore suits that cost more than her monthly rent. Navy blue, simple but elegant, bought for a cousin's wedding 2 years ago. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I'm downstairs. She pushed open the front door and stopped. Jae-sung was standing beside a black Mercedes, wearing dark slacks and a crisp white shirt with the sleeves rolled to his forearms. He looked up when the door opened, and his expression shifted into something warm. You look beautiful, he said. This is a lot. He glanced down at himself. Too much. No, it's perfect. She closed her eyes. Can we start this over? Hi, Jae-sung. Thank you for picking me up. He smiled, really smiled, and it transformed his whole face. Hi, Maya. The pleasure is mine. He opened the car door. Shall we? Where are we going? She asked as he pulled into traffic. A place in Koreatown. It's quiet, private, and the food is excellent. I hope you like Korean cuisine. I do, though I've only had it a few times. Then you're in for a treat. The restaurant we're going to has been in the same family for 40 years. My father took me there when I first moved to New York. You're not from here originally? Seoul. I came to New York for university and never left. My father already had business interests here. He glanced at her. What about you? Born and raised in Brooklyn. My mom's from Trinidad, my dad's from Georgia. She paused. They wanted me to stay close, get a practical degree. Nursing was the compromise. I wanted to study medicine. Why didn't you? Money. Time. Reality. She looked out the window. Medical school is 8 years and hundreds of thousands in debt. Nursing is 4 years more affordable, and I can start working sooner. But it's not what you wanted. What I want and what's possible aren't always the same thing. Jae-sung was quiet for a moment. My father used to say that limitations are often just failures of imagination. That there's always a path forward if you're willing to be creative. That's easy to say when you have resources. True, he acknowledged. But resources can be found if you know where to look. He pulled into a parking garage. You're about to finish your degree, Maya. You'll be an RN, which is excellent. But if you still want to go further, there are paths. The Park Group provides educational benefits for employees. Full tuition coverage for advanced degrees. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to know your options aren't as limited as you think. And because I'd like to see what you could accomplish if you didn't have to compromise. The restaurant was tucked into a side street, unmarked except for a small wooden sign with Korean characters. Inside, it was warm and intimate, with low lighting and traditional decor. The hostess greeted Jae-sung in Korean, her face lighting up. She led them to a private room in the back, separated from the main dining area by sliding paper screens. They sat on cushions at a low table, and Maya realized she was more nervous now than she'd been facing the Castellanos. Relax, Jae-sung said gently. This is just dinner. Just conversation. Tell me something about yourself that has nothing to do with work or school. Maya thought for a moment. I paint. Nothing fancy, just watercolors. Landscapes mostly. It helps me relax. I'd like to see your work sometime. It's not very good. Let me be the judge of that. He poured tea for both of them. I collect art. Mostly Korean artists, but I appreciate all forms. Of course you do, Maya said, then winced. Sorry. It sounded honest. I appreciate honesty. He leaned back slightly. Ask me something, Maya. Anything you want to know. Are you really in the Mafia? The question hung in the air. Jae-sung's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his eyes. That's very direct. You said you appreciate honesty. I do. He was quiet, considering. The Park Group operates many legitimate businesses. Real estate, restaurants, import-export, entertainment. We employ hundreds of people. That's not an answer. No, it's not. He met her eyes. The complete answer is complicated. What I can tell you is this. I have never hurt anyone who didn't deserve it. I have never cheated anyone. And I have always honored my word. Beyond that, there are aspects of my life that exist in gray areas. If that makes you uncomfortable, I understand. It should make me uncomfortable, Maya said. I should be terrified. I should leave. But you're not going to. No, she admitted. I'm not. And I don't know what that says about me. It says you're curious. It says you're willing to see past surface assumptions. It says you're brave. He smiled slightly. All qualities I admire. The food arrived, waves of small dishes, each more delicious than the last. Jae-sung explained each one, teaching her the names, showing her how to eat them properly. The conversation flowed easily, moving from food to art to music to childhood memories. Maya found herself laughing in a way she hadn't in months. Tell me about your family, she said over dessert. My father built the Park Group from nothing. He came to New York with $500 and a willingness to do whatever it took to succeed. He was formidable, demanding, but fair. Jae-sung's expression grew distant. He died 3 years ago. Heart attack. I took over his operations. I'm sorry. Thank you. He was a complicated man, but I loved him. He paused. My mother passed when I was young. Car accident. After that, it was just my father and me. That must have been hard. It was. But it taught me to value the people who remain in your life. To protect them. He reached across the table, his hand stopping just short of hers. May I? She nodded and he took her hand. His grip was warm, firm, gentle. I haven't been able to stop thinking about you, he said quietly. Since the first night I saw you in that restaurant. The way you moved through that space with such grace despite how they treated you. You're remarkable, Maya. I'm just trying to survive. Survival with dignity is still remarkable. They sat there for a moment, hands joined across the table, and Maya felt something unfurling in her chest. Something that felt like hope. I should tell you something, she said. I'm scared. Of this, of you, of whatever this is. You're not. I've never dated anyone like you. What am I like? Powerful. Controlled. Someone who makes problems disappear. She squeezed his hand. But also kind. Observant. Someone who notices when people are in pain and tries to help. And I don't know which version is the real you. Both, Jae-sung said. They're both real. I can be ruthless when I need to be. The world I operate in demands it. But that doesn't mean I can't also be gentle with people who deserve gentleness. You deserve gentleness, Maya. Why me? She asked again. But I don't want anyone. I want you. He said it like it was simple. I want the woman who shows up early to every shift. I want the woman who shares her tips. I want the woman who's putting herself through nursing school while working a job she hates because she refuses to give up. I want you, Maya. All of you. Maya felt tears prickling at her eyes. I don't know how to do this. You're already doing it. You just need to see yourself the way I see you. He drove her home slowly, taking the long route through the city. They talked about everything, her favorite books, his favorite films, the places they wanted to travel, the dreams they'd given up and the ones they still held. When they pulled up outside her building, Maya didn't want the night to end. Can I see you again? Jae-sung asked. Yes. Tomorrow. She laughed. I work tomorrow. Then I'll come to the restaurant. Request table 12. You don't have to do that. I want to. I like watching you work. Maya reached for the door handle then paused. Jae-sung. Yes. Thank you. For tonight. For everything. He smiled. The pleasure was entirely mine. She was halfway to her building when he called her name. She turned and he was standing beside the car, looking at her with an expression that made her heart race. Maya, one more thing. Yes. You're not invisible anymore. Do you understand? You never were to me, but especially not now. Whatever happens, wherever this goes, I see you. Remember that. She nodded, not trusting herself to speak, and went inside. The next 6 weeks were a whirlwind. Jae-sung kept his promise, appearing at table 12 several times a week. Sometimes alone, sometimes with business associates, always polite, always patient. And on her nights off, they explored the city together. He took her to art galleries and hole-in-the-wall restaurants, to concerts in parks and late-night walks along the waterfront. He never pushed, never demanded more than she was ready to give. But slowly, carefully, Maya felt herself falling. It was 2 weeks before her graduation when everything shifted. The restaurant was closing, the last customers filing out. Maya was wiping down tables when Richard approached. Maya, can I speak with you? She straightened, wary. Is something wrong? No, actually the opposite. He cleared his throat. I wanted to apologize. For how I treated you. The incident with the Castellanos and before that too. I should have supported you. I didn't and I'm sorry. Maya stared at him. What brought this on? Honestly? Mr. Park. Richard shifted uncomfortably. He came in last week when you weren't here. Asked to speak with me privately. He was very clear about his expectations for how you should be treated. He threatened you? Not exactly. He just explained things. Richard attempted a smile. Look, I know I've been terrible. So if you're willing to stay after you graduate, I'd like to offer you a shift manager position. Better pay, better hours. That's generous, Maya said slowly. But I've already accepted another position. At Park Medical Center. Of course you have. Richard nodded. Well, the offer stands. And Maya? You deserve better than this place. You always did. After he left, Maya finished closing and walked outside. Jae-sung was waiting, leaning against his car. You threatened my manager, she said, walking up to him. I had a conversation with your manager, he corrected. About workplace respect. Jae-sung. He was treating you poorly, Maya. I simply made it clear that was unacceptable. You can't just intimidate everyone who's mean to me. Watch me. He said it with a slight smile, but his eyes were serious. Maya, I protect what's mine. And you're mine now if you'll have me. I'm not a possession. No, you're a person. A remarkable person who deserves respect and dignity. And anyone who fails to do so will answer to me. He stepped closer. Is that really so terrible? Maya looked up at him. At this man who had appeared in her life like something out of a story. Powerful, dangerous, gentle, kind. No, she whispered. It's not terrible. He kissed her then, soft and sweet, and Maya felt the last of her resistance melt away. The night of her graduation, Jae-sung filled her apartment with flowers. Roses, lilies, orchids, blooms in every color spilling from vases. Maya stood in the doorway, her nursing degree in hand, and burst into tears. "You did it," he said, pulling her close. "I'm so proud of you. I couldn't have done it without you. You absolutely could have. But I'm honored I got to be part of the journey." They went to dinner at the Korean restaurant where they'd had their first date. The same private room, the same low table, but everything felt different now. Settled. "Sure. I have something for you," Jae-sung said, pulling out a small box. Maya's heart jumped. "Jae-sung. It's not what you think." "Not yet." He opened the box to reveal a delicate gold bracelet. "This belonged to my mother. My father gave it to her when they first moved to New York. It's meant to be worn by someone brave enough to start a new chapter." He fastened it around her wrist, and Maya felt the weight of it, both the physical weight and the emotional significance. "I start at the hospital Monday," she said. "I know. You're going to be brilliant. I'm terrified." "You should be. It means you care." He took her hand. "Maya, I know we've only been together a short time, but I need you to know that this is real for me. You're real for me. I'm not going anywhere. Even when I'm working long shifts and stressed and probably not very fun to be around. Especially then. I want all of you, Maya. The stressed parts, the exhausted parts, the parts that aren't polished and perfect. All of it." Maya leaned across the table and kissed him. "I love you," she said. "I probably shouldn't, and it's probably too soon, and I don't care. I love you, Jae-sung Park." His smile was radiant. "I love you too. I have since the moment you stood up from that broken glass with your head held high. You were magnificent. I was humiliated. You were graceful under pressure. You were strong. You were everything I never knew I was looking for." They left the restaurant hand in hand, walking into a future that felt suddenly, impossibly bright. Maya thought about that night, about the glass shattering, about standing there exposed and embarrassed while everyone watched. She thought about the man who had pushed his chair back and changed everything. She wasn't invisible anymore. She was seen, she was valued, she was loved. And she had never felt more like herself. So what do you think? Did Maya make the right choice trusting Jae-sung? Or should she have walked away when she learned about his connections? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you love this emotional love story, please subscribe for more Afro-Korean romance. Smash that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.